Welcome back to my channel. I'm Katie.the.cosmic.sailor, and today we are going to be looking at what do people admire about you. So when people look at you, that feeling of admiration they get, what is it exactly about you that people admire? So we're going to go ahead and get right in. We have 3 groups to choose from. The first group is going to be the blue calcite. The second group is the green calcite. And the third group is the orange calcite. So whichever group you feel drawn to the most, that's most likely your reading. If you feel drawn to more than one pile, that's totally okay. That just means there's more than one message for you today. Please remember to take what resonates and also just to have fun with this reading. And if you need more time to meditate on the groups, feel free to pause the video. I will have the timestamps linked in the description box below. That way you can click straight to your reading. And I will see you in your pile. Bye! Hello! If you chose pile number 1 with the blue calcite, this is your reading. Let's go ahead and get a close-up of this stone. So already I'm kind of picking up the message if you chose the blue calcite. Blue is related to the throat chakra, so I feel like you could have a really beautiful voice. Or a voice, I'm getting like a very musically kind of sounding voice where people just kind of want to listen to you talk is the message that's already coming through. We're going to get tarot as well. I'm going to shuffle these tarot cards real quick, but we're going to start with your oracle cards because I already portioned out the oracle cards and I'm really curious to see what it is that you got. So you have Mercury retrograde, reinvention, and then you have North Node, life's purpose. So already with both of these cards coming out, I feel like you could be in a career where you use your voice a lot or where you talk a lot. I feel like you have a very inspiring voice. And I feel like you're very smart and like witty with the things that you say. You could be very funny as well. Let's go ahead and see what else you got. So you got the Eagle King, the big picture, angelic help. So with this image coming through, I feel like you could be very connected to nature. I feel like you're very wise as well. Your intellect keeps coming through, so I feel like people admire how smart you are. People admire how well you are with words. I'm also kind of getting the message, I feel like you're very present when you're with people, and people admire this about you. I feel like people feel seen whenever you're around them. I feel like a lot of times, like especially maybe certain people feel overlooked. When they're around you, I feel like they feel seen. So I feel like this is something that people admire about you. You're able to be fully present whenever you're with people and really listen to what they're saying. We have karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. I feel like you could trigger people, especially because we have Mercury retrograde here. So I feel like you could trigger people, but it's in ways that's very helpful and allows them to evolve as people. And I feel like people admire this about you, maybe in hindsight. I feel like you could tend to the energy of like provoking people is coming through. So I feel like you could maybe call people out on certain things. And in hindsight, I feel like people are very grateful for this and think, oh wow, I'm so glad pile number 1 called me out on that because now I'm able to heal and grow and evolve. And it's like certain things that you call out in people, I feel like once they realize it, I feel like it almost allows them to heal it. So they're not like dealing with these problems anymore. What else did you get? You got the cheetah and the elephants. That's right. I remember the elephant flipped over whenever I was shuffling for your pile. And these are both fire energies, but the elephant is the most evolved form of fire. So I feel like people admire your passion. The word tenacity is coming through. I don't actually know what that means, but I feel like people admire that about you. I'm almost getting this like perseverance type energy, especially with this North Node here. I feel like people admire that you're able to push past challenge. I feel like you could have maybe gone through a lot, and I feel like people admire this about you, how strong you are, how resilient you are. And then we have retreat and listen. Never underestimate the healing power of a quiet moment. Be alert, the soft chiming bells call to nearby fairies. So we have this energy of fairies here as well. You could maybe resonate with the fae. But with retreat and listen, I feel like that message of being seen is coming through again, where I feel like people admire that you're able to just kind of sit in presence with them and not necessarily talk. So I'm getting kind of the message that I feel like you don't really necessarily talk a lot. I feel like you are more the type of person to listen to other people's problems, but when you do say things, I feel like it comes from this like deep well of wisdom. And so I feel like the things that you say are very resonant among people. I feel like you don't just talk to talk, but you talk to say things is what I'm getting, like, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like some people just kind of talk to hear their own voice or just to be the center of attention, to be seen, but I feel like you're the opposite end of that spectrum, where when you say something, it has a lot of meaning behind it. And it comes from your own life experience, from your own wisdom. And I feel like people admire this about you, that you just have this very like old soul energy. And with this like Native American here, I'm getting like shaman. I feel like maybe you were a shaman in a past life. And I feel like this energy really shines forward when you're talking to people. And people, I feel like they really take the things that you say to heart. And so I think that's why this karmic relationship came out, where people feel like you could trigger them, because your words are very valuable, is what I'm hearing. This is interesting. And with this cheetah and elephant here, I feel like you could have a very strong masculine energy. Even if you are female, I feel like you know how to stand in your power. And you know how to, I'm just hearing them say, like, you have a spine and you're not afraid to be in your power. Even if, like, certain things that you say, I feel like you have a very... with this big picture here, I feel like you are able to see higher perspectives. So I feel like you may know before you say something, like, okay, trigger warning, I'm gonna say something, like, I'm gonna call you out on it, but it has this like healing element. And I'm seeing like somebody, you know, whenever they get like a cut or like a wound and you have to clean the wound, you know, it hurts, but it almost is like this, it's like allowing the wound to heal. If you don't clean the wound, it can't heal. And so it's almost like you're this like salve or this balm to people, and people admire this about you. That the things that you say have meaning. And like with this color blue, I feel like you could have a very strong throat chakra. And I'm also getting the message, if you are into human design, I feel like you could have a closed throat chakra. Very strong in your voice. You have a very powerful voice, and people admire this about you as well. We're going to go ahead and get into your tarot. Curious to see what else comes out. I feel like with this retreat here, like I was saying about your own power, I feel like you value your time people admire this about you, and you value your own self-care and your own self-love. I feel like you could maybe have gone through a glow-up recently, or people just see you. If people have been in your life, I feel like for a long time, I feel like they just see you keep evolving, you keep growing in this self-love, in this, like, in yourself. I feel like the more you grow into yourself. And I feel like with this retreat coming out, I feel like people notice whenever you're not there. But it's almost like I see people saying, like, when pile number 1 isn't here, it's almost like they know that you're taking care of yourself, and they know that you put yourself first. So people admire this about you, and it almost kind of fuels this, like, inspiration within them. Like, oh wow, pile number 1 knows how to take care of themselves. Maybe I should put myself first as well. Interesting. I feel like you could have a lot of fire signs in your birth chart, or maybe you have Sagittarius Mercury is also what's coming up. I just get this very, like, smart, quick energy with your brain. I feel like you're a very fast thinker. You're able to, like, think on your feet, and people admire this about you. I feel like you give very good advice as well, is what's coming through. And this is something that people admire about you as well. People really value your advice as well. I feel like people take the things that you say to heart. Let's see. And the message keeps coming through that you are just really just living in the present moment. And I feel like people admire this about you. Like, I feel like the things that you say could be very spontaneous, and you really keep people on their toes. Like, they don't really ever know what you're going to say because it's always changing. Like, there's a message coming through. There's some people who tell the same stories and deliver the same messages and the same things of advice, and I feel like you're not that person. I feel like you really listen to what people are saying, and you are able to connect to spirit in a way that allows people to get advice. The message of, like, a channel is coming through. You could be a really good channel. Maybe you're a tarot reader, or a medium is also coming through. Let's see. And this elephant here is just I'm getting the message there's another deck. I think it's the Spirit Animal Oracle. The elephant says learn from the past. So I get this feeling that you're very evolved, and once you learn a lesson, you really integrate it into your own being. That's why I feel like people admire and really value the advice that you give them, because they know that it's coming from a place of maybe experience. Maybe you have experienced things that they're going through, or you're just able to really tap into their energy. I feel like you could be very empathetic as well. I feel like people admire this about you. Let's go ahead and pull some tarot cards. Spirit guides of love and light. What do people admire about pile number 1? Oh. Okay. So, we had 4 cards come out, and then on the back of the deck we have the sun. And it's interesting that the sun is represented by the bluebird in this deck. More like blue imagery is coming through. And when I think of bluebirds, I think of the throat chakra. So I feel like your voice is very beautiful. It's very inspiring. It's very powerful. It's very valuable, is what they keep saying. The words that you say are very valuable. It's like, I'm getting the feeling people admire that you're able to tap into so deeply what other people are going through, that you're able to give them advice almost like from their higher self. So I feel like that's why people really resonate with the things that you're saying, because it's not coming from like a place of ego or a place of I've been through this and I know what's best. It's like you're really tapping into what's best for them. And that's why everybody is different, you know, everybody has a different life, everybody has a different perspective, and you're really able to tap into people's perspectives and maybe two people are going through the same situation, but I feel like you're able to tap into their higher selves. You're able to give them the advice that they need, even if the advice is opposing advice. For example, like I'm getting the message of maybe you have two friends or who are having relationship problems, you know? And for one friend you say, okay, you need to leave this person. And then for the other friend you say, okay, this person is triggering you in ways that is allowing for you to see your own shadow and for you to see the part that you're playing. Don't necessarily break up with this person, but what is this person trying to teach you? So this is something that people admire about you, your advice, the words you say. And it's interesting because we have the Princess of Winter, which is the Page of Swords. So it's almost like I feel like you're this messenger from the higher realms to people. I feel like your higher self and other people's higher self are able to communicate, and you're able to bring advice directly from other people's higher selves to them. And I don't know if people really consciously know that you're doing this. Maybe you don't even consciously know that you're doing this, but on a soul level, this is something that people admire about you. So this card says, this is an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. If helpful information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. And that's kind of what I feel. I feel like you are the type of person to put things bluntly to people. And I feel like people admire this about you because I'm not getting like people-pleasing energy here. And I feel like that's something people admire about you. Like, you're not afraid to say what needs to be said. So let's put that right there. And then we have the Six of Spring with the rescue dog. You may receive a promotion, be chosen for a scholarship, or find that you're singled out for special recognition. You've done an amazing job and you deserve all of the attention. So I saw the Hermit flipped over as well. With the Six of Spring and the Hermit, I feel like a lot of people admire you. A lot of people think you're really good at your job. A lot of people really value you whenever you're there. But with the Hermit here, I feel like you're very humble, and I feel like you're not one to be like, oh yeah, I'm the best person here. You know, I feel like people, just your energy, something about you, people just want to validate you. People just want to give you praise. But with this Hermit energy coming here, I feel like you could be an introvert, or you could be the type of person who is like, I understand that a lot of people admire me. I understand that a lot of people like me, but I also have to validate myself. And this is also something that it just like makes you more admirable. It just makes you more, your energy people just want to cling to it more, because I'm getting like the imagery of somebody who hangs out with people every once in a while, and then when they don't hang out with them, they're like, oh no, come hang out with us, come hang out with us. But I feel like you know the power of your energy. I feel like the message is also coming through. I feel like because you are very admirable, because a lot of people validate and want to hear your voice and want to hear you talk, I feel like you could draw a lot of people in. And with this introvert energy coming through, I feel like it could be kind of draining for you. And so I feel like you have to take time to retreat, you have to take time to go within, and that's almost, it like makes you more attractive, it makes you more desirable, because you have this strong inner world, this strong sense of self is what's coming through. And then we also had the Eight of Summer come out, which is the Eight of Cups. So this is telling me that people admire that you know when to walk away. I feel like you could be very balanced in your own energy. You're not afraid to put yourself out there for people, and you're not afraid to tell people how it is, but you're also not afraid to walk away or cut people off, especially if they are no longer serving you, or if they're in their toxic energy. And I feel like people admire this about you. And that's what I was saying, like, it makes you more desirable when you are in your own power, when you are in your own energy, and when you know when it's time to cut people off and when it's time to help people. And that's kind of the message that was coming through, like when you give advice to friends, maybe two friends who are both having relationship problems, you know when it's time to walk away and when it's time to go within and heal your own self and heal your own shadow, integrate your own shadow. And with this card, I'm getting the message that I feel like children could be very drawn to you. This isn't necessarily what the Eight of Cups mean, but in this image, we have this like Joey almost and this like mama kangaroo. I feel like people get this very like protective energy from you. I feel like you are the type of person to stand up for the underdog. You are the type of person to fight for people, especially if you see that maybe they're being mistreated or maybe they're being taken advantage of. I feel like you're the type of person to really stand up and protect these people. I'm getting like Papa Bear, Mama Bear type energy from you. We have the cheetah, which is very masculine, but I'm also getting this like very feminine energy. I feel like you have a very good balance within your own energy, and people see this harmony, people admire this harmony within you, and it almost is like fuel or inspiration for them to become harmonious within themselves, harmonious within themselves. Because people see that you have done this. And with this rescue dog coming through, I do feel like you could have gone through things in the past, or maybe you've had to really fight for yourself or really advocate for yourself. Just a lot of strength is coming through. You know, when I think of like a rescue dog, you know, they have ended up in the animal shelter. You know, they've ended up at a very dark point in their life. They've gone through a lot of things. Maybe they had an abusive family, or people who didn't value them, who didn't treat them with respect. Even though, like, you think about dogs, like, dogs are so loyal, especially to the people that they love, especially to the people that they value. And you know, for a dog to end up in an animal shelter is very sad, but it's like rescue, you know, like they have been saved. I feel like you could be very connected to spirit. We have angelic help. I feel like your spirit guides could really come in and save you, give you insight, give you advice. And I feel like even though you have gone through things, it's like I was saying with the higher selves. I feel like you're very connected to your higher self. You're very connected to your angels, to your spirit guides, to spirit. And so when you've been in trouble or when things have not necessarily gone the best for you, I feel like your angels, your spirit guide, your higher self really did come in and helped you and saved you. And so I feel like you give this healing energy to other people and people admire this about you. I'm getting the message. I feel like people kind of see you as like an earth angel, as somebody who is very strong, very powerful, but also has this like soft, sweet side to them. I feel like maybe you are into like the healing arts. Maybe you're like a nurse, a doctor, a vet is also coming through, or maybe you heal through the things that you say to people. Very powerful energy. And with the North Node here, I feel like this imagery has come through twice where someone was like standing on a stage and talking to people. I feel like you could be a motivational speaker, or you are this kind of like motivational speaker in your community. If you don't have this like stage or this platform or something that you talk on, this is just telling me that maybe at your job or school or wherever you are, wherever you encounter, people just kind of flock to you and they want to hear what you have to say. People admire your voice, and they really value what you have to say. With this card here as well, I feel like this like image of like a mirror is kind of coming through. I feel like people admire that you are almost like a mirror to people. And so it's like I'm seeing it when people treat people nice, you reflect that back to them. And this is one of the things people admire about you. But also I'm getting the message, when people are in their shadow, I feel like you could mirror those people's shadows back to them. And it is healing, and I feel like people admire this in hindsight. And so in the moment when you're triggering them, I feel like they could get in their feelings and they could get in their head and being like, who does this person think they is that they can call me out? But it almost is like it allows them to heal and integrate that part of their shadow. I'm getting just like inspirational leader type energy with you as well. Very powerful voice. And on the top of this card, I just noticed that it says loyal or logical, truthful, curious, undiplomatic. So this like truth energy is coming through. I feel like people admire that you will say the truth. No matter, I'm getting the message, you say the truth no matter if your voice shakes, but also no matter if you have a feeling or knowing that it's going to hurt people. You say your truth and you speak your truth. You're very authentic. And that's why I feel like you're very connected to your throat chakra. I feel like you have a very powerful throat chakra. And so people who don't have a very powerful throat chakra, or people who are afraid to speak and be their authentic selves, I feel like they admire this about you. And it almost is like you're very inspiring to them. And I feel like they see you as this like leader that they want to follow. And I'm getting the message, I feel like you could not necessarily want to be a leader or want to have power over people, but you are this like natural born leader where people just want to follow you and people want to do what you're doing. I feel like you could be a trendsetter as well, and the message of your aesthetic is coming through, so I feel like people admire your aesthetic. With this like fairy energy here, I'm getting just kind of like pixie energy, not necessarily fairy, but like pixie, like how they are so cute and small and little, but they are in their power and they're not afraid to fight. I'm getting the image of, I don't know if you've ever seen Onward. It's like a Disney movie. There's pixies in that movie and they're like bikers, and that's kind of the imagery that I'm getting for you as well. People admire this like bad ASS energy that you exude. Very powerful, very amazing. And I'm now noticing this firefly here. I feel like you are this like light to people. Because you have this light within, I feel like people are almost like drawn to it, like fireflies are drawn to a flame. A lot of people admire you. A lot of people look up to you. But I feel like that's all I'm seeing for you, pile number 1. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like. Please comment down below and let me know if this resonated. If you feel called, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow, and we would love to have you be a part of the Sailor family as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you later. Bye. Hello. If you chose pile number 2, with the green calcite, this is your reading. What do people admire about you? I'm getting the message, diamond in the rough is coming out. So maybe you're going through a glow up, or you're doing things to enhance your beauty. Let's see. We have Scorpio and second house. This is amazing. I'm getting already off the bat, even though second house is Taurus, so this is Venus, but Scorpio here, I'm getting this very like Venusian type energy about you. I feel like people, almost like this kind of like sexual energy that you exude. I feel like people admire this. People feel like whether you come from money or you've made your own money, or maybe you don't have money, I don't know, but this like wealth type energy, people see you as very wealthy, and this could just be because you have an abundance mindset, or you exude this like abundant type energy as well. Let's see. What else did we have? So we have the fox and the crow. So already I feel like there could be a lot of people who want to be in a relationship with you, or they see you as almost this kind of like relationship material is the message that's coming through. Let's see. And you have the Shadow Queen, acquiring knowledge, insecurity, manipulation. Put your crystal up there. We have the Blue Flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. I feel like you may have done a lot of work on your shadow, and I feel like you know what your shadow is. I feel like people admire your dark side, is kind of the message that's coming through. Whenever I'm getting this like mystic type energy that's coming through. This like mysterious energy is also coming through. I feel like people could tend to romanticize you. I feel like when you're around people, you may not necessarily say a lot, but you give off this very like mysterious energy that people admire. And I feel like a lot of people really want to know what you're about. What is pile 2 like? What does pile 2 dislike? Who is pile 2? I feel like people really just like, I feel like people could have dreams about you as well with this Scorpio card here. And then we have potential. The littlest key can open the heaviest door. So I feel like you kind of give off this energy where it's like people think that you're like meant to do great things. You're meant to shine. You're meant to like be out there. I'm getting like the imagery of a star, especially like with this like lantern here that's just like shining. And then we have the blue flame. And when I think about the blue flame, it's like the hottest part of the flame. I feel like people really think that you're very attractive physically. The like words hot, sexy, beautiful are coming through. But I feel like you have this like such this mysterious energy about you. People really just want to sit down and talk to you like one-on-one. I feel like people with this potential here, people admire your potential. People admire that you give off this energy like you're going places is what's coming through. And I feel like people admire this about you. The message of, I'm just seeing like Rapunzel like looking out of a tower. I feel like you could have gone through harder things in your childhood, but you never gave up this like dream. You never gave up this like passion. Even I feel like the message of like get knocked down 9 times, stand up 10 is coming through. So I feel like you have this very like resilient energy that people admire about you. And I feel like people see that you have a lot of dreams, you have a lot of passions, just as much as they see that you've gone through things and you're still passionate, you're still a dreamer. This like celebrity type energy is coming through as well. So I feel like people could maybe fantasize about you, or they see you as like this like celebrity, almost like this, the message, the word untouchable is coming through. So it's like people want to talk to you, people want to get to know you, but you're almost kind of like intimidating in a way. That's so funny. I feel like you're very soft inside, but you have like a very kind of like the message of like RBF is coming through, where you give off this like energy of like, don't talk to me unless you're bringing something to the table as well. And so I feel like this is very intimidating, but honestly I feel like this is like a protection mechanism, because I feel like you are very beautiful, you are very alluring, and so it draws all kinds of people in. And you have to be very protective with your energy because not everybody has best intentions. And I feel like you may have learned this lesson, that some people just want to take and not bring something to the table as well. But you have this abundant energy. So I feel like when people aren't going to bring something to the table, they almost kind of see you and are like, oh, this person's not going to accept me because I'm just going to take from them, which is honestly a good thing, personally, I think. But like with the fox here, I feel like people really just want to be close to you. I feel like you could have a lot of secret admirers, people who don't necessarily tell you that they like you or that they admire you, but because they are kind of intimidated by you as well. I feel like you're very powerful. Very powerful. Not necessarily in your, maybe like in your energy, but also like when it comes to your abundance. Like I feel like you know your worth is the message that's coming through, and people admire this about you. We're going to go ahead and get some more messages with the tarot. Spirit guides of love and light. What do people admire about pile number 2? What do people admire about pile number 2? So we had 2 cards flip over already. We have the 5 of Summer with a dragonfly. And then we have the 9 of Autumn with the ragdoll cat. So with the ragdoll cat coming through, it says, your success has brought you financial security and the reward of a much-deserved time off to enjoy your own company. You may suddenly have a brilliant idea for a business or self-employment opportunity that will be very successful. I feel like you have this like very successful energy that people admire. Like I was saying, I feel like people think that you're going places, or people recognize like pile number 2 is going to make money someday. Pile number 2 is going to be famous, is almost kind of the imagery that's coming through. But with this like 9 of Autumn, I feel like people admire the abundance that you've created and cultivated. I'm seeing, I'm getting the message, I feel like you can transmute negativity into positivity. You know, I feel like sometimes people, when negativity comes toward them, they just throw out more negativity or more hate. And, you know, that has its own place and time, but I feel like you're the type of person to really bounce back, especially after maybe a challenge or something like this, or maybe if you've experienced a loss. It's almost like you have this ability to see the potential, to see the opportunity in the challenge. And I feel like people admire this about you as well. I'm getting just like Empress energy with this pile as well. I feel like you are physically attractive and people admire this about you, but they also admire what you've cultivated within. I feel like you have definitely integrated your shadow and don't necessarily let other people's shadows affect you because you kind of see it for what it is. I want to get 2 more cards. Let's put this right here. And we'll put this one over here. I feel like you could look like money is the message that's coming through. People see this and people are like really drawn to you because you are in this like abundant Empress energy. What do people admire about pile number 2, please? Spirit guides of love and light. Oh, okay. So we have the Lovers here, which honestly I'm not surprised. I feel like people admire how much you have this like self-love for yourself, and people really want you to give them love. Is kind of the message that's coming through. I feel like you could have a lot of secret admirers, people who really see your value and want to get to know you. This says, true and long-lasting love finds its way into your life. Follow your heart and caring actions and choices. And I see 11:11 on the clock timer as well, but I feel like you are very loving and kind and caring on the inside. And that's kind of the message that that was coming through earlier, was you have this very like kind-hearted energy, but maybe not necessarily a lot of people see this. I feel like because you, like I was saying earlier, I feel like because you are so beautiful, because you are so physically attractive, it could draw people in who just want you for your looks. Who just want you because they want you to be on their arm, because they want to be around you, they want to be seen with you. And I feel like you've had to learn the lesson of really discerning between what people want. Like if people are actually in your life because they want to get to know you, or because they just think you're attractive. We have the Six of Summer. So this is the Six of Cups. The loving care of children could become an important part of your life, or people from your childhood may return to it. Old memories can be healed, or possibly old childhood dreams are ready to be revived. And again, with this like message of dreams, I feel like you really are a dreamer. I feel like people admire your drive toward your passions. You know, like I was saying, with getting knocked down 9 times and standing up 10, I feel like you almost like I was saying, I feel like you see challenge as an opportunity to grow and become something else. With the Scorpio energy, we have transform. So I feel like you are able to not let things get you down, but you're able to almost like see the beauty in everything. People admire this about you. You could have really beautiful eyes as well. I feel like children and animals could be very attracted to you as well, and just are just like almost like allured by your energy. You could find that like babies often stare at you. And it's funny because I'm getting the image, I feel like you are very protective over your energy. And so I'm getting this like imagery of this like person wearing like all black makeup, black hair, and just like being in this very like dark energy. And then you have like children coming up to you and asking you questions and being curious, and maybe people who haven't integrated their shadow see you and think, oh my gosh, why is my kid talking to this person? They are very unconventional. And it's just like children see the purity within you. Even if you do have this very like RBF or this like external demeanor that kind of is very protective over your inner world, it's because I feel like you have a very rich inner world as well, with this like crow and this like holding this like rainbow ball. I feel like you're very connected to spirit. People just really admire your beauty. And I feel like the people who get close to you, it's almost like the closer people get to you, the more they admire you. The more they're drawn to you, because it's not like you're just pretty on the outside. You also have a very beautiful inner world. What does this card say? I wanted to look at it again. Spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. Integration, that word is coming through again. I feel like you know the power of your shadow. And I don't think that you see other people's shadow as bad or wrong, but I feel like you see it as just a part of them, even if other people don't acknowledge their shadow. And the message coming through, I feel like you could be very intuitive, and you're very connected to this deeper realm. I feel like you can easily identify people's shadows, and you can easily identify their light side. I feel like you could trigger people, and so it's almost like I'm getting this sense like I feel like you don't really have to talk too much, and people will just reveal themselves, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's what you're about. And then you go into this phase of like, okay, now I have to protect my energy around this person because this is who they are. Or I can open up myself around this person and I can be this, like, the word manic pixie dream girl is coming through. I can just be in my light and I can be in my love and I can flow. Very smart. Very intuitive as well. I feel like the message coming through, people could really admire your street smarts. I'm not getting like a conventional intelligence with you. I feel like you're very unconventional in the things that you do. I'm getting the message, what was that lady's name? Maleficent. That's kind of the energy that's coming through. But I feel like, honestly, I don't think I've seen the Maleficent movie. I can't remember. I just remember seeing a bunch of like posters of Angelina Jolie. That's kind of the energy that you give off as well, like very Angelina Jolie type energy. Very attractive, but the imagery of Maleficent is coming through. So I feel like you could be just very protective over your own energy, but people still find this attractive. People still admire this about you. Let's see. Is there anything else that I'm getting? You just give off like a celebrity type vibe. Almost like untouchable is the word that was coming through. Where it's like people want to get to know you, people want to get close to you, but they feel like they can't. Especially if people aren't in their own self-love, in their own self-power, I feel like they wouldn't approach you. And they may just like secretly admire you. You're not afraid to call people out, and I feel like sometimes people could maybe be triggered by this, but I feel like the right people admire this about you. You could have very like strong second house placements, or maybe you have Taurus, Scorpio, or Libra placements as well. This song is coming through something bad and bougie. I feel like you're very high value. You're very high quality. And I feel like you've kind of had to learn the lesson of knowing how to protect your value, how to protect your inner world. People value this about you, though. People really admire that you're able to stand in your power and you're still able to dream and have passion. I feel like with this insecurity right here, I feel like people could be triggered by your, like if they are insecure in themselves, I feel like you could trigger this in people. And so the message coming through, if you were in a relationship with a very insecure person, I'm getting the message that it would end very, very quickly. Because you would see this and you would be like, I can't help you. You have to come into your own power. You have to realize your own worth instead of trying to take from other people. Very kind-hearted. I feel like the people who get close to you admire this about you, your kind heart. I can't remember if I said this. I feel like people have a lot of dreams about you. I don't know why I'm getting that with this picture, but I am. Almost kind of like astral travel is what's coming through. Very powerful pile, very like seductive type energy as well. Very attractive physically. But I feel like that's all I have for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like. Please comment down below and let me know if this resonated with you. If you feel called, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow. And we would love to have you be a part of the Sailor family as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you later. Bye. Hello, if you chose pile number 3 with the orange calcite, this is your reading. We're going to go ahead and get right in. We're going to look and see, what do people admire about you? So let's see what we got. We have water and void of course moon. Ooh, I'm getting a message. I feel like you're very multifaceted. You have a lot of different shapes that you can take. Very open-minded. I feel like people admire this about you. You're not necessarily attached to one outcome or the other. I feel like you live in the present moment as well. People admire this about you as well. Let's see. We have the otter and the dragonfly. I feel like you could be very funny, very witty, very smart. The Gemini is coming through. Also Pisces as well. I feel like people admire how funny you are, how playful you are. Let's see. We have the Rainbow Prince, compensation, perseverance. I feel like you have a very beautiful aura. You have a very light aura is what's coming through. It could be, maybe it's like these colors, blue, green. And it's interesting how this there's this circle around this otter. I feel like your energy is very attractive, very pleasurable, almost like people just love being in your energy is the message that's coming through. And then we have the void. Oh, this is interesting because you got the void and the void of course moon. Stop, embrace winter, great cosmic womb. I feel like you're very connected to spirit. You're very connected to the unseen. I feel like people admire this mystical quality that you have. I'm getting this message. I feel like you could be almost like a walking synchronicity is what's coming through. I feel like you could say things. I'm just getting this image of two people standing together and they're talking, and one person starts singing a song and the other person is like, oh, I was thinking of that song. It's almost like you're able to connect to people's this is interesting. It's like you're able to connect to people on such a deep level. The message of it's almost like you become them is what's coming through. I don't know if this is making any sense, but it's people admire this about you. It's they're able to see your beautiful qualities and recognize that they also have these qualities as well. I feel like you're a really good mirror. What else did we have? Release and change. Like I was saying in the beginning, I feel like you're very multifaceted. I feel like people admire how quick you are to change. I feel like this allows people to be in this open energy. You're very free-flowing. The Sagittarius and Gemini are both coming through. Pisces as well. I feel like you could be very connected to the Fae, to the fairies. I feel like I always have one pile who is very airy, flowy. Mermaids is also coming through. I feel like you're very connected to the dream, to your dream world. And it's almost like you bring your dreams into this reality. I feel like people see you as this very graceful, elegant person just kind of floating around. You bring this very playful energy that people admire. You bring this very light energy as well. I feel like people think that maybe you don't necessarily have a lot of worries. Very carefree. People admire this about you as well. You could maybe resonate with being a rainbow child. maybe like a crystal child or an indigo child, very connected to the stars. I feel like just this like dreamy type energy is coming through as well. I feel like you almost like tap people into their own dreams. I feel like people admire this about you. The message coming through, I feel like you are living in your dharma. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be, even if you are working as a cashier at a place. I feel like you have just such this like mystical, magical, fairy energy about you. And it like allows people, maybe people who haven't dreamed in a while, or people who are just kind of stuck on the practicalities of life. I feel like you open people up to this very like dreamy world. This almost like fleeting type energy. I feel like people just admire how quick you are. Like you're just always like on to the next thing. You're always just like moving around. I'm seeing like somebody who's standing there and then you come up and then they turn around and they're like, oh wow, when did you get here? And you're just like, haha, and you just like joke around and you just laugh, and then they start laughing and then they get in this light energy and they turn around and you're gone. It's kind of the message that's coming through. People admire this about you. It almost like, I feel like you're very connected to your inner child. And I feel like it helps people connect to their inner child as well. Very like watery energy is coming through. I feel like you could be a poet. You could be like an artist or something like this. Maybe people admire how you speak, the things that you say. This is interesting. You just have such this like playful energy. I feel like people really admire this. You're really just able to like get people out of their shells, and you're not afraid to dance and laugh and sing and laugh at yourself as well. I feel like people admire this about you. Just kind of this like goofy energy is also coming through. I feel like people admire this about you. You could have maybe like been a class clown or something like this. I feel like people really want to connect with you. I'm getting the imagery of like otters holding hands. And so I feel like people really just want to like be in your energy and be around you because you bring this, like you bring their inner child out. And so when they're around you, they just have this like such this light and carefree type feeling. I feel like when you're not around, you're definitely missed. And people, I feel like you're the fun friend is the message that's coming through as well. And when you're not around, I feel like people are really like, oh, it would be so much fun if pile number 3 was here. I feel like there was a pile that I had a while back, and they were this energy that came through was this very like young soul type energy. I feel like you could be an old soul, but you're very connected to your inner child. I feel like you've had a lot of lifetimes on different planets, not necessarily Earth. Just very connected to your inner child is what's coming through. Let's see. We're going to get some more cards with the tarot. Spirit guides of love and light. What do people admire about pile number 3? What do people admire about pile number 3? What do people admire? Okay. So the first card that we had flip out was the Princess of Summer. And look, again, like with this like fairy tale type energy, you're giving like Disney princess vibes, honestly. Like I feel like you're very like Princess and the Frog is coming through, but I feel like you're just so connected to this playful energy. I'm getting, so in Princess and the Frog, I can't remember her friend's name, but she's the girl who is the, like, her dad is the Cotton King, I think is what they call him. But I feel like you give that energy where you're just like so light and carefree and fun and happy, and you're not afraid to laugh at yourself. I feel like this makes you beautiful as well. People admire this about you. And then we have the King of Autumn. So it says, compassionate, accomplished, charismatic, and grounded. I feel like you are very charismatic. We have Gypsy Vanderhorse. I feel like you could be, maybe you resonate with being like a gypsy in a past life. Just this like very free-flowing, I'm just seeing like with this horse, like a wild horse just like running in a pasture. I feel like people admire how free you are. You give off this just very like hippie type energy as well. And then we have the Two of Autumn, which is the Two of Pentacles, but I'm getting kind of a different message. In this deck, you see these like two little balls of yarn and they're like all tangled around this person's or this cat's head. I feel like that's you. Like you're just so playful. So playful. I feel like you help people see the like lightheartedness of life as well. People admire how you're able to heal and how you're able to handle stress as well as what's coming through, because, you know, life is not without challenge. Everybody experiences challenge, but I feel like the way that you go about it, people are very like, oh my gosh, like I feel like they don't really even ever see you stressed. Like even if you are stressing out on the inside, I feel like just the energy that you exude is so light-hearted and playful. People admire this about you. And then we have Awakening. Down here it says, look at things in a different way and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily. Things will soon start moving again. I'm also getting like lucky girl energy. I feel like people admire how lucky you are. Maybe if you don't even feel like you're lucky yourself, I feel like people think that you're lucky. And with this like shifting perspective card here, I feel like people admire how you're able to take darker situations and make them lighthearted, make them positive, make them playful, even funny, you know? You have this like class clown type energy about you as well that people admire. It's like I'm seeing maybe somebody who has a negative outlook or a pessimistic outlook. I feel like you're able to almost like ground them in the truth that everything is going to be okay. I feel like this could be a mantra that you practice. Everything is going to be okay. Everything's working out in its best favor. Everything is working out in my highest good. And you really exude this energy and people admire this about you. You're very compassionate as well. Very charismatic. And then on this card I just noticed, it says, romantic, flirtatious, introspective, and enchanting. It's like you have this like magical energy about you. Very playful. Very playful. People admire this about you, how you're able to not take things so seriously and how you're able to like shift and change depending on what's happening. I feel like you're very smart, very witty. I feel like you could just come up with jokes on the spot as well. People admire this about you. People really love to laugh with you, is what's coming through as well. You have this, with this frog energy here, you have this very like cleansing type energy. I feel like you could walk into a very like dark space or like where there's maybe a lot of negative energy or a lot of pessimism, and it's almost like you're able to transform and change the energy of the room because of this energy that you have within. And people admire this about you. People really see you as like a light. And with this rainbow here, it's like people see you as like this rainbow after the storm. I feel like people, just this like message of like not taking things so seriously. I feel like you realize that life is fleeting, and you may have experienced something in your past, a loss of some kind is coming through, where you realize that why take everything so seriously, you know? We're only going to be here for a short time. And I feel like people admire this about you, just this lightness that you bring. And with release here, I feel like you really are able to shift people's perspectives, and it's almost like people feel like weight fall off their shoulders when you're around. And people admire this about you. Very healing energy. Very lighthearted energy as well. I'm wondering what was on the back of the deck. So it's with this gazelle, I feel like, so it says 9 of spring. This is the 9 of wands. You've worked hard, and what you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry. You'll get through them just as you have in the past. This like don't worry, be happy, very like carefree energy is coming through that people admire about you. I'm just seeing like a gazelle just like hopping over challenges. I feel like you're very you're very funny, and I feel like you have this like almost like evasive maneuver type thing where like when you see like, especially if there's people who I feel like you can change people's perspectives, you know, but if you're around people who are very stuck in their ways, it's almost like you don't let that get to you, and you're like, oh, okay, that's just how that person is, and then you just kind of like jump over them and laugh and move on to the next thing. The song, don't worry, do-do-do-do-do-do-do, be happy, do-do-do-do-do, is coming through. Like, I feel like you just have this energy that people admire about you, this, like, happy-go-lucky type energy. I feel like, especially with this card, it says, annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry. You'll get through them just as you have in the past. I feel like you have really become almost like a master of your mind. I'm getting like the imagery of like comedians, you know, how they joke about things that are kind of like harder subjects for people, and some people can get triggered by this, but a lot of people find it funny, and a lot of people realize the lightness of life. I feel like maybe you have in the past struggled with depression or negative self-talk or things like this, but I feel like you have really, almost like an alchemist, transmuted that negative energy into light, into this like positive energy. Very interesting. Very powerful pile. Very flowy. The imagery of like a fish is coming through as well. You know, and like I was saying, like with challenge, everybody experiences challenge. Life is not without challenge, but you've really like mastered your own mind in a way that's like very inspirational to people. I feel like people, when people see you laugh, it's like it inspires them to laugh. I feel like you could laugh at yourself a lot as well. And with this like flirtatious here, I feel like people could maybe think that you're being very flirtatious or like you like them. And so then they develop crushes on you, or they become very like admirable of you. But that's just who you are. You're just this like light fairy type energy. You're not afraid to laugh. You're not afraid to play. And I feel like it doesn't matter like the person, it's just your energy that brings this out of people. It's all about you. And I feel like because you have done this work, and because you have cultivated this lightness within, because you have released a lot of your trauma, because you have released a lot of the things that were holding you down, whether that's negative self-talk, depression, intrusive thoughts, it's allowed you to be the like center of this happiness. I'm seeing the sun as well. I feel like you could have Leo energy in your chart. And I feel like you have a very big heart, and people admire this about you as well. Very caring, very kind, very compassionate. And then now I'm just noticing on this Two of Autumn, at the bottom, it says, it's important to balance your work and personal life and bring a spirit of fun to all you do. I feel like that is you. I feel like people admire the fun that you bring to things. The spirit of fun. I feel like you are the spirit of fun. The message is also coming through elementals. I feel like in a past life, maybe you were a fairy, or maybe you were a elf, or somebody who was very connected to nature. The lady who wrote this deck, actually, her name is Doreen Virtue, and she wrote a book on like, I can't even remember what the book was called. Hold on one second, because I really want to get this book for your group. Sorry about that. So this is the book, Realms of the Earth Angels by Doreen Virtue. This book is so beautiful, and it talks about wizards, other light workers. I feel like you are a light worker for sure. So it talks about like star people and then incarnate elementals. I feel like you are an incarnate elemental. So it says, the incarnate angels, incarnate elementals physically look like their namesakes, that is, fairies, elves, pixies, gnomes, incarnate animals, and unicorns. Besides the guardian angels that we all have, this group has fairies as their protective spirits. I feel like you're very connected to fairies. I feel like you could have been a fairy in a past life. But yeah, I recommend getting this book because it's really good book. Honestly, you have inspired me to reread this book. That's how powerful you are, pile number 3. I don't even have to be in your physical presence to feel your energy, because you're just like coming through so strong. This is amazing. A lot of people admire you. You have a lot of secret admirers. You have a lot of people who outright will tell you like, you're funny, you're amazing, you're so funny. Like, I feel like people just compliment you. People just really want to compliment you, because I feel like you compliment people as well. You compliment people's light. Definitely a light worker for sure. But I feel like that's all I have for you, pile number 1. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please give me a like. Please comment down below and let me know if this resonated. And if you feel called, please subscribe to my channel. It really does help my channel grow, and we would love to have you be a part of the Sailor family as well. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you later. Bye!